Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the Going Within gathering. My name is Lindsay Hundley, and I'll be performing for you today. Thank you so much.
Gonna rise up singing, then you'll spread your wings and you'll take to the sky. But till that morning, there's nothing can harm you with Daddy and Mammy will standing by, standing by. Baby, don't you cry.
Lindsay Hundley. Beautiful. Thank you, Lindsay. Good evening. My name is Reverend Lori McMacken. Welcome to the Going Within gathering. So it's beautiful to come together on a Wednesday evening. And this evening is going to be the longest evening of light throughout the year. And we come together with our like-minded people to just recognize the power and the presence of God as our life and to tap into the field of infinite possibilities, infinite potentiality. So I'm very excited about my talk this evening, and I'm going to invite you to come forward and to light your candle and just set an intention of living a life of co-creation. co-creating with Spirit. So I invite you to come forward and to light your candle as Lindsay delivers her musical gifts.
We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the light wash over us. We let it be. We let the joy wash over us. We let it be. We let the peace wash over us. We let it be. Oh, let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Oh, let it be. There will be an answer. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Oh, let it be. Oh, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom. Let it be. Oh, let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Oh, let it be. There will be an answer. Let it be. Let it be.
Thank you, Lindsay. That was beautiful. So this is the time of our service where we practice the silence. But this evening, what I would like to do is, since we are focusing on co-creating with Spirit, I would like to do a spiritual practice that we do here in religious science called the life visioning process, where I'm going to put you into a meditation, and I'm going to say words like, what is God's idea for my life? And you, within your own mind, ask that question, what is God's idea for my life? And you have an opportunity to deeply listen. And you might hear something, you might hear an answer, you might see a picture, you might feel something. You might not get an answer until tomorrow when you're relaxed and you're driving. So these are questions that we're going to ask the universe, and eventually you will get your answer. And this is just the first step that we take when we co-create with the presence of God as our life. So I invite you to close your eyes and to go within. And sit up straight and tall, like you're getting ready to hear the biggest secret of your life. Someone's going to tell you something that you just can't wait to hear about your life. And in your heart and in your mind, think of someone that loves you unconditionally or has loved you unconditionally at one time in your life. It could be a mother, your grandmother, an animal, but it is that feeling of unconditional love that you had experienced. And at the sound of the bell, I want you to times that unconditional love by 10. Breathe in and times it by 10 and let it go. A love without an addenda. Someone who loved you just exactly as you are, just like the divine. Breathe in, times it by 10, and breathe out. And so the first question you're going to ask yourself, your higher self, what is God's idea for my life? What is God's idea for my life? And listen. Deep listening. As if someone is going to whisper a great secret in your ear. What is God's idea for my life? You may see a picture. You may feel something. You may hear something. What is God's idea for my life? What is seeking to emerge? What is seeking to emerge? Listen. What is seeking to emerge? Deep listening. It may be a picture, a feeling, a flash. You may hear words. What is seeking to emerge in my life? What must I become? What must I become for this great vision? Listen. What must I become? Deep listening. What must I give up? Maybe it's a false belief. What must I give up? Listen to the first thing that comes to your mind. What must I give up to become the greater vision of your life? And finally, is there anything else I need to know? Is there anything else I need to know? Listen. At this time, I invite you to stay in the silence, knowing that this vision is already done in the mind of God, as I give deep, deep gratitude. Whatever answers need to be heard will be heard, either now, tomorrow, or the next day. The universe will co-create with you and guide you and direct you, focusing on the breath.
Spirit moves in, through, around as all that there is. And Spirit is filling the sanctuary and every heart and every spirit present. For God is all that there is. There's only one presence. There's only one power. There's only one life. And that's God's life. And that's my life now. And that life is perfect. And as this is true for me, this is true for each person here who has come to hear the divine download from Reverend Lori McMacken. For each person is that beautiful light that shines out into the universe. Beautiful, loving presence of each individual here, knowing that each person receives a special message, a beautiful gift, such as the visioning that just took place. And so I'm so grateful for this gathering tonight and for the presence of each beautiful spirit here, shining their light out into the world to create peace and grace and love. And so I simply allow, knowing that it is done, and so it is. And tonight, Reverend Lori is talking about flexibility. And so I'm going to read from the Joyous Abundance Journal, as we do every Wednesday evening. And today's topic is called Moving Around. And the quote by Andrea Young is, "I think there is a big and significant difference between being a leader and being a manager. Leaders lead from the heart. You have to be analytical and flexible. Flexibility is one of the key ingredients to being successful. If you feel like it's difficult to change, you will probably have a harder time succeeding." Flexibility is an attitude and state of mind. It is required as we continually are confronted with faster and faster changes in our world. We can truly appreciate diversity if we are flexible enough to hear other people's perspectives or try out new ideas. There are many ways to keep ourselves in the habit of being flexible rather than rigid. A significant way is through the body. Sitting all day in front of your computer, driving everywhere, and then sitting at home in front of the TV all cause your body to become rigid and inflexible, which can also create inflexibility in your psyche. It's important to find lots of different ways to move your body. Have fun with it. Take dance lessons. Learn to golf, swim, or do yoga. More flexibility in your body creates more openness in your life. And the affirmation is, I move easily, I bend gracefully, I am flexible and open in mind and body.
Thank you, Deborah Sadler. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lindsay. Well, you probably think tonight, since I'm talking about flexibility, that I'm going to give you like a dance class or something, right? An aerobics class. That's what you're thinking. I'm not going to. But, you know, I did think about moving, and you're going to be hearing about this for the next 3 months, that I am training right now to walk the Camino de Santiago in Spain. And it's 12 miles a day. So every day, not every day, about 3 times a week, I'm walking right now between 8 to 10, and I have to get up to 12 miles a day. So as I'm walking, a lot of times I receive my downloads when I'm walking, like the Spirit starts moving through me. It's really quite strange. And I'm thinking to myself, now I have to talk about moving around. And usually what I do is I go to Amazon and I have the topic or the spiritual principle, and I'll type it in and I'll find a couple books and I'll just kind of feed off those books. So I'm thinking, moving around. I'm like, who's going to write a book about moving around? Why am I looking for someone to tell me about moving around? Well, that's my book. That's who I am. I got this. I don't need a book to talk about moving around. So if you don't know, I was a professional dancer for 20 years. And I remember at one time, I was what you call a raw dancer, okay? Someone who is untrained for many, many years. And then I went and I had serious training, and after my serious training, because it takes 10,000 hours to master anything like the piano or dance or music, then I became a professional for 20 years. So I was very masterful at it, and I was very successful. But then I moved into religious science. And you would think, people go, minister, dancer, that doesn't make sense, but it really, really does. Because when I think about religious science, I think about movement. Can you believe that? I think about movement. I think about the universe is always expanding, and it's growing, and it's spiraling, because we're always spiraling on a universal level, on a collective level. We are in movement. And on an individual level, every year we get older, right? And our life is changing, and we're always moving forward. That is the gift of our life, that we always want to continue to grow and to expand and to move forward, and that is movement. Not only that, but did you know that prayer is a movement of thought? It's movement in the one that is praying along a definite line of meditation for a very specific purpose. And that is the quote from the religious science textbook. It is a movement of thought. And our thoughts, our thoughts are in the creative field, which is neutral, okay? Whatever you give it, it's going to create. So you can move that creative thought and you can destroy life, or you can move that creative thought and you can bring joy and evolution. And that's movement, right? That's movement. And then I also believe another part of movement in this teaching, is co-creation. Yeah, when we're co-creating with Spirit. Eventually, after we are in the practice on a daily basis, we recognize through practices like the life visioning process that we can move together with Spirit when we have a vision, and we have a focus, and we have inspired action, right? And as we continue to move, we know that now we're being guided. It's no longer my life, it's a life of God that we're living. So in the universe, right here and right now, we have the millennials and we have the baby boomers, and there's a lot of changes that are going on. I mean, a lot of changes. And us baby boomers have to keep up with these young'uns if we want to survive, right? I went to my real estate club last night, and I haven't been, in about 3 years. I've been focused on ministry, and I haven't been to my club. And so I wanted to get the temperature of what was going on in the real estate market, and that's how I do it. I go to this club, and there's a teacher. His name is Bruce Norris. That is, I would say, my real estate guru. He always has all the right knowledge about what is going on. He studies the economy. I mean, he has many apartments. He does hard money loans. I mean, he's just very, very knowledgeable and good at what he does. So when I went to the real estate club, I heard something different than what I thought I was going to hear. And it was really interesting. Basically, they're saying that in the future, they're going to do away with realtors, right? Because we have artificial intelligence that's taken over the world right now. So Zillow, in a couple different markets, they're selling homes online, and if it works, it's going to be everywhere, and realtors are going to lose their jobs. So there's going to be a lot of changes. Also, brick and mortars, buildings are going under. Malls are closing. Why? Amazon. Everyone's just going on their phone, shopping, and delivering it for free. I love Amazon. So now how are you going to deal with how's the real estate market going to deal with that? Well, they're going to be repurposed. Now these malls are turning into affordable living. So everything is changing and everything is being repurposed. Also, they're taking the malls and they're building like little apartments, mini suites. So they have 6 mini suites and 1 kitchen in the middle. So if you do a lot of work in Chicago, you can buy like a little mini suite. And so you'd have your home in your mini suite. So these are the big changes that are going on in the world. And I called up my stepmother to wish my dad a happy Father's Day in Michigan. And my family is from Michigan, so everyone worked in the auto industry. And their favorite grandson has just graduated from high school, and he's going into college. And I said, well, does he know what he wants to do? And she said, well, everyone's telling him that he needs to study robotics. I said, really? She goes, yeah. The reason why he should study robotics is because they're going to be doing away with manual labor. She said, they're going to do away with manual labor, everyone's going to lose their job, and everyone's going to be poor. And I kind of laughed and I said, well, I think this is going to give people an opportunity to recreate themselves, right? Now, did you ever read the book, Who Moved the Cheese, right? It's the person who didn't recreate themselves that ended up poor. But when you know that life is changing and life is evolving, and you hear that, it's the time to go out and to become educated. It's the time to do the life visioning process. What is God's idea for my life? It's a time to co-create with Spirit so you can deliver your gifts on a whole new level. So maybe you're a mother and now you're an empty nester. Now you have a whole new life to build for yourself, or you're in retirement. It's a whole new life. And so when we move through this life, and it's all movement, and we co-create with Spirit, we become that expression of the divine, and we give our gifts and our talents to the world. So I believe in the life visioning process, and I love Michael Bernard Beckwith, and I want to share with you a video when he was on the Oprah show. Can we play that video?
When I think about people who have circumstances that aren't as good as mine or yours, is it possible to life vision when you're at the bottom?
Not only is it possible, that's probably the best time to do it. When circumstances and situations are pressing in upon us, the only way we can overcome them is to go within, to actually begin to ask very empowering questions with the awareness that this universal presence and its law will answer any question that you ask. So if you're in a situation that is pressing on you, and you ask, what's trying to emerge in my life? What is my gift to share? What is my purpose? Why am I here on the planet? Not just, how can I pay my rent? Not just, how can I stop the pain? Which aren't bad questions.
And not just even, what should I do?
Not even, what should I do?
Not what should I do,
No.
but the universal questions.
You ask empowering questions. The universe will answer these questions in a language and in a way that you can understand. There'll be inner prompting. There'll be intuitive hits, nudges, signs, symbols, dreams. It'll come in the language of the individual soul and heart. The difficulty is that when people are in tough situations, they ask disempowering questions.
Whoa.
They say, what's wrong? Who's to blame?
Yeah.
Why me?
Yes.
Those are the disempowering questions. So the universe will answer those too. It'll pull on the database of human experience and say, you were born on the wrong side of the tracks, or you were born on the right side of the tracks, or this happened or that happened. It'll give you a bevy of excuses. But if you ask an empowering question, you'll get an answer to rise above the muck. So it's all about the question, the sincerity of the question, and then the ability and the willingness to really listen, to really be available. That's where the juice is.
And that is available to every human being.
Whether an individual is in prison, whether an individual is imprisoned by circumstance, imprisoned in their own mind about an event that happened in their past, it doesn't matter. Once you ask with sincerity, the universe will answer. That's the way it operates.
Powerful, right? So this is what happens when we're recreating ourselves and we co-create with Spirit, we can actually ask empowering questions. So the way that I know to co-create with Spirit is, number one, have a greater vision for your life. Maybe one that seems impossible, that's really good. And then number two, allow that vision to unfold. So to give up attachment to how it has to happen. Because when we realize that we don't control the how, the universe controls the how, then we give up suffering. When we're living in that more of the material world, like I used to live, is I am the creator of my life, I have a goal, and I will work hard towards it, and I will meet it. This is, I'm setting myself up for a lot of suffering, because I'm creating how it's going to happen, and when it's going to happen, and who is going to give me my good. Well, God's laughing at me when I have that all set up. Instead, we move into inspired action, right? All of a sudden, we're moving and we're practicing whatever it is we want to create, and we get the hit. And it tells us to go talk to somebody who gives us a tip. We get a hit. It tells us to read a book. We get a hit. It tells us to go to a teacher. We get a hit. It tells us to go to a workshop. We get hits when we are in motion, when we're moving. When we're sitting, okay? And I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. And we're stiff, you know? We're stiff. And when we suffer, when we tighten up, it's almost, have you ever fought with a 2-year-old? Don't, all right? They will take you down, right? A 2-year-old, their ego, all of a sudden they realize who they are, and they realize how old they are, and they realize they have this blood-curdling scream. And if you try to fight with them, they're going to fight back, and they're going to take you down. I remember one time I did children's parties for years, and I had like some 2 to 7-year-olds, you know, and at the end I would make them a balloon animal, and they would always like fight who goes next, so I decided to give them numbers. So I would give a 1, a 2, and then I'd give the little 2-year-old a 3. She goes, I'm not 3, I'm 2. I go, I know, you're just number 3 in line. No, I'm 2. And there would be another one. I'd give her a card. Okay, here's 6. No, I'm 2. And so they would fight with me. I thought, okay, all the 2-year-olds come forward, and I'm going to make this balloon. You know, I didn't say what line you're going to be in, but this is what happened when we become stiff. It's my way or the highway. We suffer. And then when we just let it go and we let God and we just allow it to unfold, the funny thing happens, the magic occurs, because things are happening when we don't even know why they're happening, all for our greater good, all for the greater unfoldment of our life. And we just keep moving towards whatever it is we want to express in our life. And Dr. Jane, my ministerial teacher, she said to me, Lori, you know, you're one of the most successful people I know. I don't think really, but that's what she said to me. And then she said, you need to teach people to do what you did. Like, everyone gives up too early. And I said, persistence. So it's never about quitting or when the going gets rough, to just stop and I can't do it. And this is when the creative mind, this is when we start thinking affirmative thoughts and put them in the creative mind and allow them to move forward. But all of a sudden when we freeze up and we think we can't do it and we're not good enough and our ego gets in the way and it's never going to happen, then that's when everything goes down. But it's about staying elevated at a very high energetic level through our prayers and through our meditations and through our mantras. And so when we stay elevated at that high level, we become the vibration of what we want to express in the world. Because you really can't have anything unless you become it in consciousness, when you become it within the vibration of who you are. So I just want to tell a couple stories of one of suffering and another one of just recognizing the presence of God moving through my life, the 2 different angles in my life. Like when I was younger and I was with the Rockettes for 16 years, and there was like a roster position where they had 36 girls on the roster, and if you were on the roster, that means they called you first for work and everyone had to wait in line. It really didn't matter because I was working 365 anyways. It never really mattered. But when you're in a company, you want to grow, right? So around year 7, I'm on tour with the Rockettes. New management is wiped out of Radio City. And all of a sudden, a couple girls leave the roster, and someone came in and did the Christmas show, and they put her on the roster. Oh my God, was I fuming. I was like that 2-year-old. I was so mad. I remember the next time I went into Radio City, I said, I'm leaving. I'm going to LA, and I'm going to become a movie star, and I'm never coming back. So I went to LA and I studied acting, and I didn't want to work in the bar and serve drinks or waitress, so I became Cupcake the Clown. Now, the funny thing is, I was a really good clown. And not only that, I realized that there was something missing, the princess characters. No one did the princess characters. So I started doing the princess characters, and I worked all the time. And then I met someone very special. I fell in love with a man, and this man taught me about money. He taught me about compound interest. He taught me how to invest. And then a year later, I get a phone call from Radio City. Would you like to come back and do the Christmas show? Oh, I called them up and said, no, I don't want to come back and do the Christmas show, but thank you. I thought to myself, maybe I should have. So a week later, I get another phone call. We haven't heard from you. Do you want to come back and do the Christmas show? And I thought, well, I'm really a bad actress. And I'm a dancer who dances. So I went back and did the Christmas show, which took me back on tour. And when I went on tour, we landed in Las Vegas. I opened up a Princess Party company. My dresser, who dressed me in several shows, made all my beautiful costumes. I was doing 5 parties on a Saturday, 6 parties on a Sunday, and I started saving all my money, and eventually I started investing in real estate. And because of that, see, something greater was happening, and I was suffering, and I didn't know something greater was happening. And because I did invest in real estate, I'm able to be a minister. So you know how much we make. So, so then that's just, there's a trust factor when we continue to move with Spirit, that we have to trust that things might not be going our way. And yes, I want it my way or the highway. I'm like that egotistic 2-year-old, but if I just let go and I let God, I just know everything's coming into my life for a greater good. And about 7 years ago, now I'm a little bit more seasoned. I'm in ministerial training, and I'm with my boyfriend, and we decide to buy a house in Carlsbad. I walk into the house, and I know this is my house. I go and talk to my loan lady. She said, "You can't buy the house. You're doing a 1031 exchange. You'll never be able to do that exchange. You can't buy the house." I was like, oh my God. I know this is my house. So I didn't act like a 2-year-old. I didn't have a fit. I didn't force anything. I just gave it up, okay? A month later, I looked at the house again, and it was an escrow. A month later, I checked on the house again. It fell out of escrow. I didn't even call the realtor. I just went over there and pounded on the door. I said, "Is your house for sale still?" And they're like, "Yeah." So I called up my lady again, and she said, "And the interest rates dropped, and they lowered the price on the home." Oh my God, see? Something bigger and something greater was happening in my life, and I had no idea. I just had to trust it and to go with Spirit. So, but when we stay in our spiritual practice is when the magic happens. I know recently I had taught a class called "It's Never Too Late to Begin Again," and Deb Sadler took the class, actually. And in this class by Julia Cameron, every day you did your journaling. And every day you did that was the morning pages, right? You went on an artist date, and what else did we do? 20-minute walks, yeah. So it was a spiritual practice every single day. And what happened to her, because of this practice, she realized that she was ready to retire. I think she still had a couple of years left, right? And she realized she wanted to retire right there and right then. But she couldn't because she was working. And all of a sudden, like a month later, an opportunity came to her that she could retire. And it was because she had opened herself up, because she became that vibrational match for it. She was doing her spiritual practice, and Spirit had her back the whole time, and she trusted that. So now, she retired last week, right? Give her a big hand. Yeah, it's really great. Yeah, it's really good. So sometimes we just have to allow that infinite intelligence to move us. And we don't allow that because we always go to the familiar. There's a story about how they put a man in a dark room. And they said, if you go into this room, everything that you want is in that room. All you have to do is reach for it. But you have to turn on the lights. So what he did is he went over, and the light switch is usually around chest level. And he was looking for the lights on the wall, right? And he couldn't find the lights where they usually are. So then he decided to reach high, and he decided to reach low, looking for the lights, and he still couldn't find the lights. Then he stopped for a minute, and something said, look on the floor. And that doesn't sound reasonable. So he went back to the wall, looking for the lights, looking for the lights, looking for the lights. And again, infinite intelligence told him to look on the floor. So then he started to feel around with his foot, and he felt something bumpy, and he pushed it down, and no lights came on. He pulled it up, and no lights came on, and he heard infinite intelligence said, move it side to side. And so he moved it side to side, and poof, the lights came on. But this is an example of what happens to us. Instead of deep listening to that infinite intelligence that's always going to guide us and direct us, we're going to go to something that we know. We're going to absolutely go to something that feels familiar. And then we'll go to our plan B, what we think is right, before we listen to that infinite intelligence that's always guiding us and directing us into a bigger and better space than we could ever possibly imagine. And the thing is that every single person, just like Michael said, has the power to tap into infinite intelligence just by asking a question. And so my mother, I was talking to her the other day, and she said, oh yeah, I saw on a documentary that Edison wasn't the one that developed the light bulb. It was someone else. Edison went and registered before him. I said, oh really? She said, yes, and he tapped into infinite intelligence. She goes, I wish I was intelligent so I can tap into infinite intelligence. I said, Mom, you do tap into infinite intelligence, because infinite intelligence is going to tap into you through what you do. I go, she's a tailor. When you want to figure out how to fix something, you always ask, and all of a sudden it comes to you. She goes, that's right. She goes, I had a skirt that came back from the client, and I didn't know how to fix it. So I asked, how do I fix it? And I woke up the next morning, and I was told exactly how to do it. All I had to do was loosen the inseam or something, or the lining. I was like, wow, see, infinite intelligence is speaking to you only in ways that you can understand. If you're a tailor, it's not going to ask you to go fix a computer or go, develop a light bulb. You're going to develop what it is, your expression in life. So we are here to co-create with Spirit, and to express our gifts and our talents, and when we get these hits, to follow those hits in our life. And one of my favorite stories, I'll leave you with one last story is the Starbucks story. Howard Schultz. He loved the Starbucks coffee in Seattle. And so he asked the company, can I work for you? Can I just market the coffee for you? And eventually they said yes. So he marketed the coffee for like 3 years. And then he went on vacation and he went to Italy. And when he was in Italy, he was romanced by the coffee houses there. Oh my God, and this is like, you spot it, you got it. He saw it in his mind, Starbucks all over the United States, communities coming together on a daily basis, spending $4 to $5 on a coffee. He loved that idea. And so, definitely. So he came back and he told Starbucks, and they weren't interested at all. So he decided to leave Starbucks, but he still kept that vision in his mind, and he opened up like 4 coffee houses, and they were extremely successful. See, now he's preparing himself for something bigger, right? He went back to Starbucks, and he bought the company for $3.5 million. And now it's a $1 billion business. You see, Spirit's going to work through each and every one of us, only in ways that we can give our gifts and our talents to the world. So just remember that you are a gift to the world, and it's for you to share your gifts and to spread your love and to spread your joy and your talent all over the world, because it takes everyone in this world for us to expand and to grow and to evolve to become a world that works for everyone. And so it is. I should go on to prayer. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and to go within. Yeah, I usually do a prayer. So I'm just grateful for this moment right here and right now as I see all these divine light beings in front of me, recognizing that each and every person is an individualized expression of love, of light, of wholeness, delivering their gifts and their talents to the world, knowing that the divine Spirit speaks through each and every person here only in ways that you can understand as you allow your light to unfold easily and effortlessly, sharing and caring and delivering all the good to the universe. And I'm grateful for this time together as we come together as one to recognize the power and the presence of God as our life. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Lori. That was very insightful. Thank you.
Everything must change. Nothing stays the same. Everyone will change. mysteries do unfold. 'Cause that's the way of time. Nothing and no one goes unchanged. There are not many things in life you can be sure of, except rain comes from the clouds, sun lights up the sky, and hummingbirds do fly. Winter turns to spring. A wounded heart will heal, but never much too soon. Everything must change. The young become the old, and mysteries do unfold. 'Cause that's the way of time. Nothing and no one goes unchanged. There are not many things in life you can be sure of, except rain comes from the clouds, sun lights up the sky, and hummingbirds do fly. Rain comes from the clouds, the sun lights up the sky, and hummingbirds do fly. Rain comes from the clouds, sun lights up the sky, and hummingbirds do fly. Rain comes from the clouds, sun lights up the sky, and music makes me cry.
Beautiful, thank you. Nice. Thank you. So this is the time of our service where we practice circulation of giving and receiving. I invite our ushers to come forward. Practitioner Ginny and Dennis Mills, who've been in service here at Seaside for 20 years, thank you very much. I invite you to take your gift and to place it over your heart and to go within. and just being so grateful for this beautiful spiritual community as they give their gifts, allowing the grace of God to unfold here at Seaside Center for Spiritual Living, knowing that each and every person is divinely blessed with doors of opportunities and monies that continues to flow into their life with ease and grace. And so it is. And so it is. Could I have the prosperity? Oh, here we go. Together we say, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. I want to break out into a little tap dance. So this is the time of our service where we honor our loved ones and we do the circle of love prayer. So if there is anyone in your life that may need a healing, I invite you to raise your hand and I'll point at you and I'll ring the bell and then we'll consciously put them into the circle of love and then I'll do a spiritual mind treatment for you. Does anyone have someone in their life that they would like? Cameron. Me. Cameron.
My sister Rhiannon.
Now remember, we have two practitioners here, and if you need prayer, personal prayer, I'm going to pray for you right now, but if you want another prayer, there is a prayer room in the hallway, and they'll be there to serve you afterwards. So I invite you to close your eyes and to go within, and how grateful I am that I stand at the altar of the Divine Spirit, having this beautiful opportunity to pray for all these beautiful people in our lives, recognizing that the circle of love is infinite. There's no beginning and there's no end. It is eternal, it is perfect, it is whole, it is complete. For I know the circle of love is complete within this room. It binds all together with cords of everlasting unity. I cannot depart from its presence nor wander from its care. The circle of love is complete within me and is complete within the consciousness of my mind. For I know each person in the circle of love is held in the arms of the divine. I know there's a perfect God, a perfect man, a perfect being, and a perfect healing now. I know each and every person is divinely guided and guarded into divine right action. I know each person is a perfect pattern of health, of love and joy and wholeness. And I am grateful for this healing that has occurred right here and right now. As I release my word into the law, knowing that it is done, knowing that it is so, and so it is. So what's going on here at Seaside? Next week, Kim Jera Whittington, our minister in training who will be on staff here at Seaside, will be speaking. Mojo Jackson will be here, and I'll be hosting the service. Now, we've had people ask me to talk about money a little bit in July, so we are going to have some conversations. Let's talk about money. It's really prosperity, but we'll be talking about prosperity in July. And we have creative media skills. So if you have something that you're creating in your life, you want to build your brand or your list or presentation skills, join us. I'm just going to kickstart you and get you going. It's not that I know a lot, but I taught myself a little bit, and I have an amazing master teacher, Reverend Dr. YouTube. The Dances of Universal Peace are July 16th from 7 to 8:30. Join me. Actually, Marcia, Jen, and I have created a dance. She created a song, and I'm choreographing the dance today. It'll be a fun evening. And the deep sound meditations are here every single Monday night. So 6:30 to 8. It's a beautiful, beautiful spirit. James, yes, for the universal blessing. Love. You are there's a prayer room. The practitioners are waiting for you.